Sadiq Khan is there for the taking, and if she's got the right team, with the right policy, with the right campaign, she may have a chance.
I used to work later evenings, but over the last maybe 5 or 6 years, I haven't done that now because I actually don't feel any safer, as a woman especially.
Get undercover police out there, we know what they look like. I know what they look like, I'm no Poirot, but I think there should be more of a police presence on the street.
They know London like the back of their hand and have been scientifically proven to have bigger brains than the rest of us. So who better to ask about the mayoral race than London's cabbies? We've invited 3 black taxi drivers to the Evening Standard to find out what they think about the battle for City Hall and who they think deserves to be our next mayor. So we've got three taxi drivers with you here. We'll just ask first their names and also who's the most famous person, if anybody, you've had in the black of your cab.
My name's Howard. Probably Dustin Hoffman or Charlton Heston.
Oh, good start.
Hi, I'm Suzanne, and I've had 4 of the 5 Spice Girls.
Oh, who have you missed?
Posh.
Ah.
Hi there, I'm Mr. Mohammed. I had few footballers in my cap. One of them was Frank Lampard and Peter Crouch.
Oh, very good. Well, we've done well as a start. Now, let's talk first about London's own, if you like, political celebrity, Sadiq Khan. How has he been doing? He's been mayor for 8 years. How would you say he's performed?
I have voted for Sadiq Khan for the last 2 terms, thinking that he was the right guy for the job. But since then, as a cab driver, I am very sort of, what is the word I'm looking for? I'm very disappointed with him, and I don't think this time around he will, get my vote in my view, simply because of the pressure that he put on us as a cab drivers, the lack of access of the roads, the 20-mile speed, the cycle lines everywhere, and the expansion on Ulis and all that, even though we exempt on that. But the thing is, so I do believe that it's time for change, and change is always good in my view.
Now, according to the polls, Sadiq Khan's biggest challenger is Susan Hall, the Tory mayoral candidate. What do you know about Susan?
I've listened to some of her manifesto and listened to her speak. She's let herself down on a couple of occasions by not being as well informed as someone should be in her position, but we all make mistakes. And as the guy said, both of them said, change is as good as arrest. Let's get somebody else in with fresh ideas that maybe has got a better take on London than Sadiq's had.
Susan is the Conservative candidate. There is the issue that the Tories nationally are unpopular. Would that put you off voting for a Tory mayor of London?
No, because I think we have to think differently. It's about London, not about the whole country. And I just don't feel there's anyone strong enough to take over what Sadiq has left. I just hope that she is the person to, help the trade. And from what I've listened to, what she said, she does seem to want to do that.
Sadiq Khan is there for the taking, and if she's got the right team, with the right policy, with the right campaign, she may have a chance.
Let's talk first about the black cab trade. It's been a tough time since the pandemic for cabbies. TfL figures show that the number of licensed black cab drivers has gone down to about 17,500. That's about 21% down. What's it like out on the roads? What's it like working as a cabbie in 2024?
It's not easy. It's usually just the traffic that causes us most of the problems, but the 20 mile an hour is, extremely difficult to work around. It's fine on some of the, the smaller roads, but on the main roads, it's impossible to get anywhere, fast.
For a young person looking to become a cab driver like we did when we were younger, they look at it and think, well, these your expenses to rent a cab or buy a cab are very, very high. The earnings pro rata have gone down. It doesn't look such an attractive proposition as it did do.
Would you say the same, Mohammed, is being a cabbie still a good job?
It is a good job, but it's a very difficulty nowadays. Like my colleague says, obviously, the lack of access, the driving, the congestion charge, the 20 mile per hour. It is really making things difficult nowadays to drive around and, to get where you want from A to B. And it's all down to this LT and 20 mile per hour.
Let's talk about some of the issues that affect taxi drivers. Not all of these are the direct responsibility of the Mayor, but the Mayor has had some involvement. So first off, LTNs, low traffic neighbourhoods. Are you a fan, Mohammed?
No, not at all.
Why not?
Well, it is obvious because it will make our job very difficult to get to where we wanted to. So I'm not a big fan of it. And I would like the other boroughs to follow the likes of Hammersmith and Fulham, who are allowing the taxis. I'm not too sure about the private hire either, but we can go through that.
Suzanne?
Well, no, I'm not a fan of them at all. It's the same thing as what Mohammed said. Islington's a really bad borough for LTNs. But during the pandemic, I worked for Waitrose as a delivery driver because there wasn't any work for the cabbies. And when I spoke to the residents, they weren't a fan of the LTNs because we couldn't get the shop into them. Same with the cab. We can't get elderly people, disabled people. Even like at night, I don't really work nights anymore, but I have done in the past. And you've got a young girl who's drunk and she just can't find her way home. And it's my job to make sure she gets home safely to her front door. We can't do that with LTNs. We've got to leave her at the end of the street, and that's not right either.
Disregard the taxi drivers. If you live in London, you have to expect traffic. You have to expect vehicles. You're not living in a utopian village with no vehicles. So to have your food delivered, to have your furniture delivered, to be able to get home with shopping or get home with a baby in a buggy or when you've had a drink, the point of getting in a taxi is you get door-to-door service. We can't offer that door-to-door service under LTNs. And it's a terrible word to use, but it's not fair on those people. They've been lumbered. They lived in those houses before they became LTNs, and now they're stuck in it.
Now, what we do know as well is that the likes of Islington and Hackney have some of the boroughs with most cycle lanes. Now, we mentioned the Park Lane cycle lane we know is not popular with motorists. Are cycle lanes, how would you regard them, an inconvenience? Do you feel that they have a place, or do they just essentially stop vehicles getting round?
They have a place because we're trying to be greener, we're trying to get people exercising more. They have a place, but to put them in place of other modes of transport and having that big an impact. Talk about the Park Lane cycle lanes, for example, which is the most obvious, glaring double take. You're right next to Hyde Park, which has a cycle lane in it. Going northbound on Park Lane, there is a cycle lane inside Hyde Park, just the other side of the railings. In their infinite wisdom, the authorities, whoever they were and whoever was the mandarin who decided it, well, we'll put one in Park Lane as well. So it used to be 4 lanes going north, and now I've got a very rarely used cycle lane, a bus lane, which I agree with, and then you've now got, the traffic is constant from 6 a.m. till 8 or 9 p.m. Hyde Park Corner, trying to get up Park Lane towards Marble Arch is at a standstill. So there was no thought of other vehicles. But a lot of them are great ideas, and through back streets, and they've worked out that rather than go on a parallel main road, you can use back streets to cut through. And I know plenty of people that use their bikes and they love the cycle lanes, but it has to be a little bit more thought for other road users.
To be fair to CFL, the reason that they brought in the Park Lane cycle lane is that Hyde Park closes in the evening, so you can't use the cycle lane then, and also there are a number of pedestrians walking in the park who would then come into conflict with cyclists. But it sounds like from what you're all saying that if the Park Lane cycle lane was taken out, which is what Susan Hall proposes, that would make things easier for you to use one of London's main inner city roads. Is that right?
Definitely. I mean, if you were to sit on Park Lane, even in the evening when the park closes, you don't see many cyclists going up and down Park Lane. So, probably 5% of it is used, where the rest of the time we're all sat in traffic, waiting to get from literally one end to the other, and it taking double the time.
The cycle lanes, my take on it, especially the embankment, more than anything else, why wouldn't they have not thought, I'm only a stupid cab driver, of having inflatable cycle lanes, pop-up cycle lanes. So in the morning, everyone's going to work in the city, the ones that not working from home. So the bollards rise, it's fenced off from the rest of the road. Going east, cycles go and you're in safe zone. 10 o'clock, 10:30, lower them, the road's open to everybody. And in the afternoon rush hour, in inverted commas, the inflatable goes up on the westbound carriageway sections off the safe section. But then once the rush hour's gone, drop the inflatable bit down and it's an open road again.
Interesting idea.
Very good point.
It's not
Go for
beyond
mayor.
the realms
Go
of-
for mayor.
Yeah.
She
Trying to
can't
take the
decide.
flak. It's not beyond the realms of possibility. It would be very easy to do.
Something must be working though for cyclists, because the number of people cycling or riding a bike in London has gone way up. It's about 1.2 million a day.
Yeah.
So it's about a third of the number getting the tube or actually on two
Yep.
wheels. So London must be getting better for cyclists.
You say not getting on tubes and not getting on buses, which, like I said before, the businessman that wants to get in the taxi to do his daily work, private phone calls on the laptop, he can't do that on a bike. He can't do it on a busy tube. He can't do it on a busy bus. So there's still plenty of other people other than cyclists. I'm really pleased it's improved, and I like cycling myself. It's important for it to be safe. But what I feel Sadiq has done is completely forgot about everyone else, and especially as we're a working city and we do need the black cab to get those people to and from work and save time by getting on with their conference calls and everything else. He hasn't even thought about that. We're a working London.
Let's talk about one of Sadiq's other big policies. He's probably best known for the ULEZ. That expanded London-wide last August. So the whole city is now under the ULEZ. Black cabs aren't necessarily caught by the ULEZ either, because you've got your own emission rules. But what impact has the ULEZ made, if anything, would you say, to levels of traffic on the road in terms of congestion?
It's a very good question. I mean, yesterday I was in Hillingdon and I actually saw people tearing down one of the ULEZ expansion bollard. They actually fell off. Yes, it's actually on the Twitter.
Was it one of the cameras, or was it
one of the cameras? Yes.
Gosh.
And I saw a lot of the vans around Heathrow Airport, I don't know, monitoring the movement of the traffic and all that. Look, the ULEZ expansion, yes, we exempt you into it, but people are fed up with it. They don't like it. They don't want it.
Mm-hmm.
And with the problem with Sadiq Khan is that is what he wants. His policy of 2 wheels is better than 4 wheels. That's all his idea. And, with another 4 years with that, we may as well all stop driving and just walk around and get the bicycles.
Do you think the ULEZ expansion could lose Sadiq this election?
I believe so.
Because we know, you mentioned that you saw a camera being pulled down. We know there's been more than 1,000 cases of vandalism of ULEZ cameras. The police won't tell us exactly how many, and TfL don't want to say how much they've spent putting them back up again. But you sense that this has turned Londoners against Sadiq?
Absolutely. I've seen that with my own eyes yesterday while I was driving around in Hillingdon, and the police were there. They're not doing it. They can't do nothing about it. The people are fed up with this. They don't want this expansion of police. And that's across the boroughs of London. The vandalism of all these things, it continues.
And the last thing we want to ask about is crime, which is another massive issue in London. As part of your job, you will see every day the reality of crime on the streets, either through your windscreen or picking up possible victims of crime. Do you think London has got less safe under Sadiq Khan?
I'm not sure if you could hang that on him. I don't think London is as safe as it was. I wouldn't necessarily say you could land that at his door, but gradually London has become less, I think, is in a lot of respects is less safe, less police presence on the street. And I see it, I saw it twice last week, same 2 guys on electric bikes with balaclavas, dressed fully in black, riding around, circling around people. I saw them snatch the phone off of a guy in Mayoral and ride off, and there's no way he was going to catch them. And I'm just a cab driver who drives the streets every day, and I can see it. So surely, if you're looking at on the ground, get undercover police out there. We know what they look like. I know what they look like, and other cab drivers know what they look like.
You're not a detective.
I'm not a detective, no. I'm no Poirot. But I think there should be more of a police presence on the street. Whoever's prepared to put that out there, I think a lot of Londoners would vote for them, because we need better policing.
Mohammed, do you think London's get more dangerous?
It depends how you look at it. I think in terms of the knife crime, yes, I would say that has gone up under the Sadiq Khan. But, even the previous mayor, who was Boris Johnson, the crime has gone up. But I think under the Khan, for the last 8 years, London, especially the knife crime, has gone up. And like you said, I think it is a lack of presence of police around the streets. I'm one of those ones who are a big fan for the parallel local police. Every borough to have a local police around, going around the town and seeing what's happening. So yes, I do believe the knife crime, especially the knife crime, has gone up under Sadiq Khan.
Okay. Suzanne, do you feel safe driving a cab?
Well, I used to work later evenings, but over the last maybe 5 or 6 years, I haven't done that now because I actually don't feel any safer, as a woman especially. I've always felt safe in the cab because we've got the petition, I always lock my doors, but what I see at night has definitely got worse. And in the day, unfortunately, in plain sight, bright daylight, you can see lots more going on. So it's definitely got worse.
Okay. Well, there you have it. Some of the key issues sort of debated here by 3 taxi drivers. The mayoral election is on May the 2nd. Other candidates, apart from Sadiq Khan and Susan Hall, are available. A total of 13 are standing. But it sounds like, from what we've heard today, that Sadiq Khan faces something of a fight in his hands to win a historic 3rd term.